Hello and welcome. In this video I'll be showing you how to make this couch you see right here. So I don't know if you can see the texturing because the recorder I'm using has a very low frame rate, which is really irritating. But I assure you there is a texture here and it looks quite realistic. But of course you'll see it once we actually make it together. So I'm just going to open up a new scene in Blender, and the first thing I'm going to do is change the units of measurements to metric. And then using the default cube here, we're going to make this help the base of the couch. So changing the scale, height on the z-axis, we'll make this 0.1. Length on the x-axis, we'll make this 2.4. And then adding another cube for our armrest. Let's say x-axis 0.2, and then height 0.5. Of course, I've taken all these measurements before just to save us time. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate it. Our armrest, so I can put it on left and right side. Okay. So now let's add another cube. I'm not gonna worry about the measurements over here because we're not gonna be rendering this, so we're not gonna see it really. And also, there's not much we can do here. It's gonna be wrong because I mean, all we're doing is matching it up with our other meshes over here. Alright, just like that. That looks good. Okay, so let's add another cube, and this will be our cushion. Okay, now the scale of this on the x-axis will be 0.98, and then on the z-axis 0.2. Alright, so let's just throw this over here. Of course, we're going to have two cushions on the bottom and two cushions for the back. So for the back cushions, we're going to need space for it to slot into the back here, so we're going to have to scale our seat cushion a bit, just so it can fit, the cushion can fit in there. That looks good. Okay, so now let's change the cycles. Okay, so now what we want to do is add some loop cuts. So going into edit mode, Control R, number 4, Control R, number 4 for loop cuts, Control R2 for 2 loop cuts. And then, because now what we want to do, instead of adding a subdivision surface, we're going to be adding a multi-resolution. And then subdivide it twice. This is so we can be using this sculpt mode, so we can add wrinkles and creases and all that great pillowy stuff later on. Okay, so what I want to do here is just bring these out, these center pieces, so it looks more cushiony, I suppose. Do the same over here. Yes, that looks good. Then what I want to do is make this look like it's drooping, I guess. Let's just make this look like it's drooping down. Just like that. That looks good. And then I want to do the same thing for our side here. And make it look like it's been pushing up against the armrest. Now that it's finally free of the armrest, it's bulging out a bit. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's turn on smooth shading. That looks good. Alright. So now, because I want to make it look like it's pushing up against the armrest, I'm going to grab all these vertices over here, and then just bring them up into the armrest. Add another loop cut. Grab these vertices and bring them down a bit. So now it looks like it's pushing up. Actually, let's move this a bit more this way. Let's just grab this whole thing, slide it over. Right, how does that look? Okay, that's actually, now let's bring it, I'm just double tapping the G button to scale this along its other loop cuts here. It's a real helpful thing. Okay, that's fine for now. We'll align all this later on once we add more geometry to our armrests. But for now, that's looking good. Okay, so now what we want to do is I also want to make it look like it's pushing up against the other cushion. So just going to add another loop cut over here. Grab these, bring these up a bit. Actually, let's select all these vertices over here. Hit SX0, just like that. Okay. Let's actually bring these up a little bit more. Let's get a little closer. Actually, no. Sorry. Let's actually bring this down. We'll fix all that later. When we get to it, but let's do that for now. Okay, so let's select this, duplicate it by Shift D, and then hit SX-1. Basically, what we've just done now is invert this on a 1-to-1 scale. So that looks pretty good. So the reason why we inverted it is so where I made this bulge, it's going to appear on the same side here. So otherwise, if I just duplicate it and then shift it over, the bulge is going to appear over there, of course. So that's just saving us work. Okay, so cushions are looking good. Now what we want to do is add some variations between the two. So just selecting. Actually, that's what we want to do. Sorry, let's do this first. Let's select the center vertice. Turn on proportional editing. Oh, sorry, my screencast keys isn't on. Okay, turn on proportional editing by hitting 0, and then just grabbing this and bringing it up a bit. Bring it up some more. That looks good. Just do the same thing here. Bring it up. That looks weird. Bring it up. Just like that. That looks good. Okay, so what we're doing? Yes, we're adding some variations between the two pillows. Cushions. Sorry, not pillows. Okay, so it's with proportional editing enabled. Just going to bring that up a bit. Just to add some bumps and dents and stuff. Of course, later on we'll be adding creases and wrinkles. For now, let's just add some more major variations. Just like this. You may not see much of it now, but believe me, once we render it with our all our shading, it's going to be very noticeable what we're doing here. Noticeable. I thought I said noticeable. Okay. Just do the couch as well. Oops, I think I've making all sorts of mistakes here. Okay, so we're doing the same thing here. Just some variations. Okay. So do something over here. This looks weird now. Okay, that looks fine for now. Let's go ahead and make these look like they're actually connecting, because at the moment they don't look like they're connecting. Let's bring this up a little bit and then bring this closer as well. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, cool. So I think that's all the work we have to do for the bottom cushions at the moment. Let's go ahead and add a new cube. Scale this down a bit. This is going to be our back cushion, of course. Just like this. Slot this into the back here. Bring it. Actually, we should just scale it on the Z axis. Bring it up to about there. And match it over here as well. Can always change this later, of course. Let's just do it roughly for now. Okay, that looks good. Now what I want to do is rotate it to about there. And rotate it to about there. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now we're going to be doing the same. Going to edit mode, Control R, number 4, Control R, number 4, Control R, just add one there, it doesn't actually matter. Then what we want to do here as well is add a multi-resolution modifier and subdivide it twice. Okay, so let's bring out our center vertice, disable proportional editing. Bring out our center vertice so it looks more rounded and more cushion-like. Then also add another loop cut here because I want this to look like it's getting pushed down onto our other cushion here. So yeah, you can see that looks quite nice. That looks alright. I'm gonna add another loop cut. Yeah. No. That looks fine. Okay, yeah. So let's just go ahead and round this off a little more. So let's make it look like it's bulging out into the back here. It's starting to look weird actually. That's fine for now. Oh yeah, that's alright. Okay, so what we want to do now is the same thing we did with the cushion over there. We want to make it look like it's gonna bulge out into that direction, which that looks weird actually. There's another loop cut over here. Bring this out. Okay. So do that. Okay, looks fine for now. That looks good. Alright, so same thing. Going to just add some more turn on proportional editing. Some more realism to our cushions here. By bringing that in a bit and then just duplicate the whole scene. I'm sorry. Duplicate our pillow, scale its x-axis, and then invert. Gosh. Let's try that again. Duplicate, scale, x-axis -1. There we go. Shift this over to this side. Because now I want to do the same thing, make it look like they're pressing up against each other. Just like that. And let's just scale them both to their correct scale. Just like that. That looks good. And then let's add some variations between the two pillows. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring this down. Just like that, and bring this one down a bit as well. Not so much though. Bring this down as well. That actually looks weird now. I'm sorry, that looks fine. Okay. Some variations. That's looking good. Okay. Alright, yeah. That's cool. Okay, so now let's do the same with this one. The proportional editing and bring the center out a little bit. This is gonna help us later on when we add the creases and stuff. Do the same. see it's actually looks quite sharp at this one area over here on this one, but it doesn't matter because once we add in the creases, we'll make it look nice and smooth. Yes, okay, cool. We're also smoothing out this vertices that looks terrible over here. You see it there. But yeah, okay. So now what we need to do, before we add all our creases and everything, let's just model the armrest here. Okay, so what we're going to do, you see what I did in the last one, I just made it like circular at the top, and then I added like a cover to it. Just thought that looked cool, so let's do the same thing here. Gonna add 4 loop cuts. Actually, we just need 4 loop cuts on our side here. 4, and then let's just add 2 more on both edges, almost right to the edge. Oops, sorry, proportional editing goes off. So we're just gonna take these loop cuts and take them all the way to the edge here. Then we're gonna add a subdivision surface. And you'll see we immediately have that nice circular rounded top there. So that looks really cool. Yeah, that looks great. Alright. So now we're going to be adding that cover. So that was quite simple. So what we want to do is grab these faces on this side. You see? Now I've selected all the side faces except for the bottom ones, or I have selected the bottom ones. Sorry. Just the side and the top, not the bottom and not the front and back. Now what I'm going to do here is Shift D and then right click. I'm going to hit P to open the separate menu, and then just selection. You see now I've separated our what we duplicated. Okay, so next thing we want to do is just what I forgot now. Yeah, no, that's fine. What we want to do now is apply our subdivision with view of 1 and render of 1. And then we're just going to scale this on the y-axis just so it's leave that for now. So it's just before it. Sorry, we just want to make this so it's not starting. We don't want it to go over there. We just want it to be just like that. Is fine. Addition. Forgetting what I'm saying here. Okay, now we just want to align this nicely. So add a loop cut in all the places where we're going to need a loop cut. Then just bring this down. Like this, and align this. So we need one there. The reason why we didn't just make it easier, I hope it wouldn't actually be easier, apply it when it was already subdivided nicely, was because we have too much to deal with then. So this way it's just a little easier. Yeah, okay, that looks good. So now let's just yeah. Okay, sorry, I was just thinking about something for a second there. Let's go ahead and tab mode, select A for select all. Then we're going to extrude this, right click, and then Alt S to scale on our normals. We're going to bring this out about there, and then scale X, scale on the X axis, just to about there. That looks good. And then we're going to add a subdivision surface, and we just need a subdivision surface of 1, not 2. That'll be like overkill. Okay. We don't actually need that extra detail of 2 subdivisions, so 1 should be fine because we already had quite a few vertices to begin with. Alright, another thing to note is once you've done something like this, it's better not to work on the actual armrest, not the cover, because you notice if I start adding some more vertices, it gets all weird. But of course, if you do want to work on it, you can just delete the cover again and then add the cover later when you finished editing it. Alright, so I'm just going to duplicate this and then bring this over to the other side. We need our armrest. Okay, it's starting to look more like a couch now. Awesome. Okay, so one last thing before we start adding the creases. We want to make the feet. Sorry, the stands. Whatever you want to call those. So let's go into layer 2, just painting number 2, and then adding a cube. Okay, all I'm going to do is make a right angle. So just like that. Measurements don't need to be exact. Just like that, looks good. And then grab these vertices on each side here and just bring those down. Oops. Add 2 more over here. Select your new loop cuts. Scale them. Sorry, my bad. Only select the bottom 2. Forget about the top 2. We're just going to bring this up just to about there. Then let's go ahead and bring this down a bit more. Just like that, and that looks quite good. Actually, let's move these a bit as well. Let's move them individually, actually. Just like that. Wait, what's happening here? Oh, my bad, sorry. Stupid mistake. Go them both here. Just move them a bit. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now let's move this over to our first layer, layer 1. We want to scale it down. And then position it so it's... what size do we want it about? About like that looks fine. We can change it later if we want to. So let's just make so it's just touching our base. That's fine. Go into the bottom view and then just positions over there. We want to shift D to duplicate this, scale y-axis -1. Of course, we just inverted it on the y-axis. Then we want to grab them both, duplicate them, S, X, -1. Invert them on the x-axis. And then just move them over there, and then we have it. Yeah, cool. Okay, sorry I lied. We have to do 2 more things before we can start with the creases and stuff. Let's just add some loop cuts over here to the edges of our base, because we're going to want to add a subdivision surface here as well. So, sorry. So let's do that. Okay, that's alright. Let's add our subdivision surface. Cool. That looks good. Gonna do the exact same for the back of our couch here. Just add loop cuts along here. The reason why we add these loop cuts, in case you don't know, is so you see if we apply subdivision here, it's subdividing per face, per 4 vertices. You see? So what we want to do is minimize the vertices on the edge, so it gives us some sharper, so I guess you say closer edge. Just like that. And that looks good. Actually, this one can go a little closer. Okay, this is looking good. Now we can start with the creases. So I recommend saving your project before you do this. I've had it crash several times while in sculpt mode. And this is why we added our multi-resolution, so we can sculpt easier. Okay, so let's get to it. Start in the first one over here. Okay, I'm actually going to subdivide it one more time, so we can have a subdivision surface of 3, and then get our brush. Yeah, let's change the strength, just like that. I want it to have quite a big brush to start with. Oh, I'm on the wrong couch. It's irritating. Sorry. Okay. How does that look? subdivide this again. That looks good. Excuse me. Okay, so yeah, let's do this. We just want to add slight creases in the center where it's going to be stretching the material. That looks terrible. Let's do it again. You see, just like it's awful. Okay, that looks fine. Actually, it doesn't. Let me try that again. I'm sorry. I need to change the strength. Strength is a little too much. Yeah, there you go. That's looking good now. Cool. Okay, nice. Change the size and give some more creases along the edge here. Just like that, that's looking good. I don't know what that was. Alright, so that's okay for our first one. You'd want to spend more time on it, of course, but for this tutorial, I just want to try to go as quickly as possible. Don't want to waste anyone's time. Alright, so next couch, subdivide it again. 3 to 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Then go into sculpt mode, increase our brush size, and then just do the same thing we did for there. Just creases like if someone had been sitting on here. This is looking really terrible. I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to go through this quickly. Let me just do this couch again. Just like this. Try B the wrinkle. B the crease. B the crease. Terrible, but that's okay. Yeah. Let's do it on bottom here. Is it actually doing anything? It is, yeah. Okay. Let's actually increase our strength over here. Let's decrease our strength. Okay, if you spend a little more time on it, I'm sure you can get looking quite nicely, like I did with my final rend. But I'm just trying to work fast here. It's stuff like this that takes a real long time. Time that I'm quite sure you'll spend doing something else than watching me do it. So yeah, let's subdivide this one as well, just like this. Add some creases. My word, that looks terrible. Take down the strength. To add like a real mean one there, and then try smooth it out. Smoothing it, I mean. Oh, that looks cool. Okay, so you get the idea. I'm quite sure you can do some better creases than I, if you just spend a little more time on it. Okay, so I think that's it for the first part of this. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's it for the first part of this video. Second part, we'll be doing all the texturing. We'll be using a fabric texturing, and I'm going to try and make it look like a suede kind of couch. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.